Most people assume that if you save consistently and invest patiently, your wealth grows in a straight line. A little more each year, steadily, predictably, until one day you retire comfortable. That assumption is wrong. And the gap between that assumption and reality is exactly why millions of disciplined investors quit at the worst possible moment. My name is Marcus, and I spend way too much time thinking about the hidden mechanics of compounding that the financial services industry would rather you never fully understand. When you map out a 15-year compounding cycle at a historical average return of roughly 12%, the growth does not arrive in equal installments. It arrives in three distinct phases, and the math behind each one is almost insulting in how lopsided it is. This is the 8-4-3 rule. 8 years of grinding, 4 years of acceleration, 3 years of something that looks less like investing and more like a printing press. Here is what the first 8 years actually look like. Suppose you invest $10,000 at the start, adding a consistent amount every month. After year 2, your returns feel almost insultingly small. The market is like a friend who promised to help you move apartments, but shows up and carries one lamp while you haul every couch. You are doing the heavy lifting. The compounding engine has barely turned over. By year 5, you have contributed significant capital and the growth is real, but it still feels linear. You are watching the number go up slowly, wondering if you are doing something wrong. You are not. You are just in phase 1, where the base is being built and patience is the only tool that works. Then phase 2 begins around year 9. This is where the math shifts. The base you spent 8 years building is now large enough that the returns it generates are themselves generating returns. Fidelity published data showing that the average investor who stayed fully invested through a 15-year period saw nearly 60% of their total gains arrive after year 8. You have been pushing a car uphill for nearly a decade. Phase 2 is the moment you jump in, release the brake, and let gravity take over. But phase 3, years 13 through 15, is where the 8-4-3 rule becomes almost difficult to believe. The same investment that added modest gains in year 3 can add more in a single year of phase 3 than it added in the entire first 5 years combined. This crosses the line from speculation into undeniable arithmetic. Compounding is an exponential function. Exponential functions do not accelerate gradually, they explode at the end. Robert Shiller, the Nobel Prize-winning economist, documented how investors systematically underestimate long-horizon compounding because the human brain is wired for linear projection. We see 8 years of modest growth, and we extrapolate 8 more years of modest growth. The math says something completely different. There are 2 traps that destroy phase 3 before it arrives. The first is the 2% management fee. A 2% annual fee sounds trivial. Run it over 15 years, and it drags behind your portfolio like an anchor behind a speedboat. On a $200,000 portfolio, a 2% fee costs you roughly $80,000 in forfeited compounding over that period. The fee does not just take money, it eats the compounding that money would have generated. The second trap is behavioral. Checking your portfolio monthly during phase 1 and reacting to short-term volatility is like planting a tree and digging up the roots every winter to see if they grew. You do not just waste time, you actively damage the system. The investors who reach phase 3 succeed through sheer endurance rather than superior intellect or early wealth. They simply understood that quitting in year 10 is the financial equivalent of running 20 miles of a marathon and stopping. You get the sore legs. You get none of the finish line. The system is designed to feel unrewarding long enough that most people abandon it. The early years are slow by design. That slowness is the price of admission for the exponential phase, and most people hand back their ticket before the show starts. The math demands a decade of silent endurance before it unleashes a lifetime of exponential freedom.